Hello Naps, welcome back to my channel. My name's Jocelyn, and today we're gonna be doing makeup and learning things. Let's talk today about intrapersonal intelligence, while we get to know ourselves a little bit better and do a fun thermo makeup thing, where we figure out where our hot spots are in our body. Yay! Fun! Let's get started. Today might be a little different. We're gonna be doing full face. We're gonna be getting kind of rainbowy up in here. So I'm gonna get my hair away from my face. I know, contrary to me just like trying to tuck it back, I'm actually using a clip today. If I'm laying down a base for my makeup, I think I'm going to go in with some Ben Nye Clown White. My Ben Nye Clown White happens to be this little itty bitty pot in the middle here from the Monster Wheel. And I'm gonna put this all over my face just to make a nice, very sticky primer for the color. This is gonna be a fun little experiment here. I don't know if any of you all have ever seen where they like take a picture and it shows your body's temperature, but it shows it in like a range of colors depending on what temperature you are and the parameters they have set. So usually red is like hot, and then cooler tones like blue, purple, and green are colder readings. And I'm using this instead of a blending sponge just because I felt like it. So sometimes we experiment here on this channel. I'm gonna finish up applying the base. All right, I've got my white cream paint base on, and I have it going down into my neck too. So let's start. Today I'm going to be using the James Charles Morphe Artistry palette. This guy has a lot of rainbow shades in it. All the shade names will be listed below because they're not listed on the pan, so I gotta look them up in post. So we're gonna be starting with this real vibrant red right here, and that's going to be our warmest tone. So that's going to be like the center of our forehead, our eyes, kind of like low points that don't have a lot of extra sticking out tissue. And also you can kind of do like the touch temperature gauge. So like for me, I found out this area is actually a lot cooler than this area on me, which I found interesting. Go ahead, map out your own face. It can help to look at pictures on the interwebs of other people's faces, but at the end of the day, your face is you and unique. Let's get into intrapersonal intelligence while we start applying our red. By the way, I have not powdered the white. Intrapersonal intelligence is the intelligence of knowing one's self. If you've been to my channel before, welcome back. If you have not or have not seen the other pieces in my multiple intelligences series, go ahead and check that out. There is a playlist that'll be conveniently located here. The last time we talked about interpersonal intelligence, which was knowing other people and being able to identify other people, the social butterfly intelligence of it. This one, however, is more introvert friendly, typically speaking. This one is all about knowing yourself, wanting to get a deeper understanding of yourself, generally just asking questions about why you feel the way you feel, how you have come to have certain thoughts and feelings and emotions. As you might imagine, philosophers, writers, psychoanalysts, and poets all have very high intrapersonal intelligence. Fun thing, we get to add our bags very, very similar in temperature to the top of our eyes, so just get ready to look like a hot mess. So far with just the red, this kind of gives me Kyoshi Warrior makeup from Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you haven't noticed, I'm a little bit of a fan of that, as shown by my Zuko Scar makeup. And fun fact, the heat usually wraps down in here at kind of more of our lower points again. So we're just gonna look like we're crying blood. It's okay. It's hopefully gonna get better and more rainbow-y. Stick with the process, right? So my jawline has a lot of like nerve endings and a lot of blood supply going to it, hence why I have that red line there. But as it's going away from the front of my face, it's gonna get cooler. So I'm going to be blending a lot of oranges and such into it as well. Trying to guess, because I did not originally sketch out my neck. Okay, let's pause on the red and break into our orange. And the orange will be this top shade right here, fourth over from the edge. And it's going to be used to blend out the edges of that red and start to go more into cheekbones a little bit. Oh yeah, this will look cooler now. This will be less intense. This is looking a little less scary now, right? It definitely gives you an idea of how not white one's teeth can be. People who have high intrapersonal intelligence are often very introspective. They think back, they review who and what they are, and they try and come up with answers to those questions, figuring out if they can change themselves, why they think the way they think. And a lot of the temperature is very front focused, except for the nose. I mean, if you think about the areas that are likely to get frostbite, like lower circulation points, more considered an extremity, so that one is going to be colder. The golden child for Howard Gardner was another lady. We got Virginia Woolf. Not only did she write about her life, which alone probably wouldn't have been enough to earn her golden child status for this, but she frequently looked inward to examine her innermost feelings and was able to articulate them to a large audience. It shows a heightened ability and awareness of your feelings. I mean, how many times have you been feeling something on the inside but then tried to communicate it with somebody else and it just did not translate? Those who have a really good intrapersonal intelligence have that heightened ability to be able to communicate that effectively with others and how they can best articulate it to be understood fully. They also kind of have a deeper understanding of how others may be feeling as well. Similar but different to how interpersonal intelligence knows people, intrapersonal intelligence uses your own personal experience to then empathize with others because you have a deep understanding of your own emotions. It should be noted that I am not a professional in this, so especially with the thermometer stuff, the neck is me guessing based off of generally like vague knowledge of anatomy and like where I think certain veins would be. But this is by no means an accurate representation. All of this is me doing deep dives and coming up with answers based on the knowledge that I have. So be aware. Next, I'm going to pop in this yellow shade that is going to be my next warmest shade. And now we're starting to get into some of this is like the bridge of where the cooler tones start coming in here. Yellow is still our warm shade, and I will be coloring my brows because brows don't have blood flow, so they are going to be significantly cooler than the rest. So they're going to end up being like purple or blue or green. As you go through and blend, you may need to add more layers to repigment some of those areas that were perhaps less pigmented after blending. And there is nothing wrong with that. That is kind of what happens when you blend. But today was not the day to wear this particular nose piercing. There we are. Now we're starting to see some of this really cool color definition coming through, right? the body does not necessarily distribute heat symmetrically. Like this is probably a little too symmetric for me. But since I don't have an authentic like temperature map, this is what we're doing. I'm gonna say that the back teeth probably get a lot of blood flow, so we're gonna have a hot spot there. While I move into this light green right here at the edge of the palette, I'm also gonna talk about there are more examples than just Virginia Woolf, obviously. If you know about the Transcendentalist movement, which happened in the 1800s, that included people like Walt Whitman, Ralph Waldo Emerson, and Henry David Thoreau, that movement was all about the importance of the individual, so their works are also wonderful examples of people who have high intrapersonal intelligence. Ugh, I really hope that I don't mix up those too much in this. That would be kind of not fun. And we're starting to get into our cooler tones here. These are our tones that are probably over bonier parts of the face, spots where there is less blood flow immediately. Thinking about areas that maybe don't flush quite the same as some other spots. We're also starting to get into the hair over here a little bit as well. And it is just pure coincidence that I can actually kind of maintain a contour in a cool tone shade here. It's not going to be symmetric. Fun fact though, if you or somebody you know and love is really not good at interpersonal intelligence, it is possible to get better. There are ways to practice interpersonal intelligence so that you can start to identify what's going on inside you with your thoughts, feelings, and how that's causing you to interact with others. Some of the articles I was looking at were talking about trying to increase this in classroom uses as well, and what kind of activities you could get students to do that would aid in this definition of ability. Oh, I didn't do my neck with the yellow, did I? Ooh, guess I gotta go back in and do that. You want to see the progress?
Holy shit.
Is that good or bad?
I now understand what you were going for.
Yeah, it's like thermal mapping, right?
That's terrifying.
Okay. And I think that this part of the body is probably going to be in warmer tones, closer to the heart, where the blood pumps and everything. Lots of veins in your neck. So we're probably going to keep this pretty warm toned. Going to go back in, punch up some of the colors there. If you find that your colors are sort of running together, you can always put a nice barrier between them, but just know that they're not going to blend as well once you put that barrier. So like what I would use if I really wanted to lock in what I had and I didn't want it to move anymore, I would use like Ben Nye Final Seal for it. So if you have something like that or a finishing spray, that'll help lock stuff in. You can do that at the end too if you want to walk around like this for a while, because I know that's what everyone's thinking. Wow, this makes my nose and mouth look very strange currently. It is only going to get stranger, because the lips are also on that cooler toned spectrum. We've got our green in there, so next we're going to dip into our blue. This is the reason that I use the James Charles Morphe palette, so I wouldn't have to use 17 different palettes. And we're gonna start getting smaller and smaller bands of those cool tone colors, because like the face has so many like blood vessels and stuff in it that like for the most part you don't get a lot of cool toned spots. Like you don't get a lot of cool spots. So if you do have a friend who you really want, or perhaps you yourself really want to get better at your intrapersonal skills, there are some activities one can do. Journaling is a really great reflection tool. You can write down everything that you're thinking, which helps you learn how to articulate what you're thinking. But then on top of that, with the articulation of it, when you read it through, you can kind of then reflect on if is accurate, if that is a thought that is maybe coming out of emotion. It's a really good way for us to review ourselves and kind of discover who we are. We're going to be going back and forth and blending it like we've been doing with all of the other ones. And as you can tell, lopsided. I am really just accentuating how not symmetrical my face is. But that's okay. That is okay. And I think that this is a good example of like when you're just purely emphasizing the high points, the low points, the blood flow points, you're gonna get these weird chunks where it's like, oh, this is not quite right. Similar to how when you do old age makeup, you don't wanna just put random lines. You wanna try and emphasize the points that fit your face. And that's the green, that's not the blue. The other thing that I heard about that was really interesting, and I don't know if you've heard about this, is called mind mapping. And I don't know if this is something that people have just kind of recently been talking about or discovering, but mind mapping seemed pretty neat as well. It's kind of like if you were to make like a tree diagram. They say it's really good to do with this with like characters in books because you can get a really good in-depth understanding of their motivations for things, and you have the whole book to look through, so it can be a little clearer than trying to do this for oneself perhaps. But you take your main character of your book and then you start making branches that are like categories. So relationships, main events, difficulties that they have in life, and then you can get into hyper specifics. I have not done this mind mapping, so I do not have personal experience with but there's a ton of resources online that can. It's just not the focus of this video. We're starting to get into hair here, so I'm kind of going through with my brush. I'm not gonna do my full head. I'm just gonna try and get it back into some thinner hair areas, you know? To make it look a little bit more transitional. Think about it like it's picking up on the hairs, not necessarily on the skin there. So it's not that the top of your head is cold, it's the hairs on top of your head are cold. And that is what like your thermo thing is reading, right? Although it's fairly cool there still, but it's probably not like full green band, you know? And oh, I gotta do my nose too. Been forgetting about this area, haven't I? I know you guys have been like, why aren't you doing your nose? You're doing it everywhere else. It's like, sometimes you forget, man. Sometimes you forget. Another fun thing, if you want to boost your intrapersonal intelligence, doing some acting exercises. Actors very frequently have to get in the headspace of whatever character they're playing, and so there are a variety of exercises that one can participate in that will help you gain a better understanding of somebody's mental state. You dig? The articles I read also suggested putting yourself in another person's shoes. Again, trying to figure out how to articulate their emotions and such. And it is very fascinating how much overlap I would think there would be between both inter and intrapersonal, because I would think putting yourself in another person's shoes would let you be able to identify and work better with them as a human being. So I would think that would almost fall more into our interpersonal as opposed to our intrapersonal. But let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Do you think that that would be more one side or the other? Do you think the articles are right? Do you think you have a different opinion completely? Let me know. Get some blue on this bridge, and then the very tip is going to be purple. I originally thought about doing like MRI makeup. That stuff is very creepy though, like because you can see the eyes. And yeah, if you want to sleep, I would not suggest looking at that, especially at night. All right, and let's get some purple in there, and I'm going to be using the deep purple right there. And I also got to get my lips in there too, but we're gonna work on the nose first, and we'll work our way out. As I mentioned in the beginning, people with this intelligence are typically considered introverts. That doesn't mean that all people who have this intelligence are introverts. There may be people who have high interpersonal and high intrapersonal. That's completely plausible. We know that these intelligences are not one and done. Usually you have multiple in varying degrees. And throughout different parts of your life, it might even be that some areas are higher than others, depending on what experiences you have and how you choose to learn. And the lips, it was not as warm as one might think. So it did have warmth. It wasn't purple or even like blue stage, but I think it was like that outer edge was a little bit more green, and then as you get closer to the inside of your mouth, it kind of goes more in the yellow range. So, and for this, I might even want to recoat in white. I've been talking a lot, make a better base. Try not to ingest anything, by the way, unless it's a product that's supposed to be ingested. That should go without saying, but I feel like I should restate it. If it makes it seem any less appetizing, the white smells kind of like crayons, so it's not like the most appetizing of smells. So I'm gonna do the outer edge in green. I'm gonna go in some yellow. And at the very center of that bottom lip, I'm gonna do the orange. So it'd probably work better with like a liquid lipstick, smaller brush it. And I'm gonna go through really quick and do some touch-ups. Try and make this color just a bit more pigmented. Where do you guys feel you are as far as the multiple intelligences go? Now that we've gotten quite a few of these out of the way, I'm sure you can start to tell the ones that you have a little bit more experience in, maybe have a little bit better handle on. Oh, it's not nearly as crazy looking. I say it's like I'm just technicolored. I have some yellow I can do for my waterline. And this is LA Girl's Shockwave Neon Eyeliner in shade Screamin. I've used this before. I do not have a red. I probably should use a red. I don't have anything that I feel comfortable enough putting that close to my eyes. So we're gonna use the yellow. And then I'm going to try and see if I can fudge some color for my brows and maybe for my lashes as well. And I think what I'm gonna do for that is I'm gonna use my Bruise palette from Ben Nye. I have a good purple shade here and I have like a blue shade as well. I think I'm gonna go through with the blue shade. Get some on my brush and try and comb it through my eyebrows. And hopefully it should blue up a little bit. And I can also go back in and put some powder over top of that cream once I get it on there. So it'll have a base, but it'll also have like, the base will also have some blue pigment. Probably not bad for it to speckle a little bit. And that's purple. Where's my blue brush? There's my blue brush. Let's go through and just tap that in gently. It's not like I need to make it look like pretty defined eyebrows. These are just its own deal. You know, I just feel like I really need to add a little bit of mascara. I'm gonna use the Ulta Beauty Bold Ambition Volumizing and Conditioning Mascara in black. I used to have some blue lashes actually. Do I still have them? They're just like Spirit Halloween lashes. Oh, I do still have them. You know what time it is then. All right, and there we are. Thank you, Naps, so much for joining me today. I had a lot of fun. If you would like to come back to this channel sometime, I'd love to have you here. I am thinking about doing a name change, maybe to something like I Do Makeup and I Learn Things. So let me know if you enjoy that, if you have other suggestions down below in the comments section. Don't forget to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and ding the notification bell to get notified whenever I post. Hopefully I'll see you all here next Thursday for another video. Have a lovely day, Naps. Bye.